Welcome, one and all, to Unimportant Questions. I am Matt Bynan, and sitting across from me is Jaron Bird.
Good intro.
I've been working on my radio voice.
Hey, it feels really awkward to just like go silent and then be like, welcome everybody. But that's exactly like what you need to do.
Yeah.
It feels like the most awkward thing.
It's not awkward for me anymore, but
Do you remember like one of the first time when
Oh,
you
yeah.
first started, you're like, I shouldn't be doing this.
yeah, it feels fake. But now it feels real. Hey, who do you think has the best radio voice? Or who's your
in
favorite?
the world, in all
Or
throughout
just of what
history?
you listen to? The guy from World War II. We're coming in from Norway. That was a bad impression.
I like Ira Glass has a great voice for radio. Anybody can have a good voice for radio. It's just like
It's familiarity with the voice.
like here's some hot tips for radio. You're gonna think, and I guess the same goes for video, because I was watching the video of the last episode that we did, and I'm like, man, I look freaking weird. It takes a while to get used to the sound of your own voice.
Yeah.
And once you do, it's a lot better, and you can be a little more authentic.
Yeah. You're not as self-conscious. You're not trying to talk deeper or like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's part of like the skill, I think. I'm not saying you and I are even particularly great at this sort of thing, but like it is a skill to sound normal and natural. Yeah. People's like first inclination is to like change something.
Yeah.
Which only makes them sound worse to themselves later if they hear it again.
Right. Is that your hot take? Is that your hot tip, I mean?
That's one of my hot tips.
Is to just embrace it, or
just trudge through it.
Okay, yeah.
Mileage. Eventually you'll embrace it and you'll totally just be like, okay. And I think hopefully the same thing happens with video, because right now I'm in a spot similar where I'm like, I look like a weirdo and I look strange and gross.
Yeah.
And it's not good. So hopefully I'll just get used to that.
You don't look strange or gross.
No,
You look great.
Thanks. You do too. I think you look great.
You look great. I'll never do that again. Okay. Hey, what are we going to talk about today?
I did want to say who, though.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said Ira Glass, but that was kind of like going through a list.
I like to listen to this podcast called On Being. Have you ever heard of it? With Krista Tippett. She's a great voice. It's kind of NPR-ish. I like a little bit of the NPR style, but I don't like the full NPR experience.
Yeah.
That also feels a little artificial to me. Like, I feel like people get onto NPR and PR and just assume the identity.
Yeah.
Or try and like fit the style of NPR.
Right.
And it's kind of like what we talked about with Bill Simmons, where it's kind of like it starts to feel too artificial. Like that's the thing that we said was cool about Bill Simmons, was he's good at encouraging like just somebody's own identity without pushing that.
Yeah.
And we said that we felt like ESPN will like push a thing that makes somebody unique in order to like draw more attention to it, and that feels artificial too.
You mentioned a female radio voice. I like Sarah Koenig from Serial.
Oh yeah, I thought she did a really good job too.
Like, she'll be talking directly to the listener, and it just sounds so casual. Like, she's great.
That's actually hard to do.
Yeah.
And then also Serial is so well written, and you can tell she's reading a script at least most of the time.
Yeah.
But she's just like simply presenting the information, and it doesn't need to have anything else into it. It just needs to, and it takes a lot of work to get to that point where she goes from one logical step to the next.
Yeah.
But what was so great about Serial was it doesn't try to embellish or add any sort of like stylistic flourish to it. It's just like, look, this is the story. We already know it's compelling.
Yeah. True dat.
Yeah. I think she did a really good job with Serial.
Last week we promised our listeners we were going to talk about chewing gum. So I think we better make good on that promise.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Do you chew gum?
Yeah.
How often?
Occasionally.
several times a week?
No, I go in spurts. If it's like if I have gum, if I remember to buy it, and then it's like every day, multiple times a day until I run out of gum, and then I could go weeks without chewing any more gum.
And when you have gum, you kind of always know that you have it. Like, if I have a little pack of gum, that'll go pretty fast. But have you ever seen the little? They're almost little cylinders full of like Trident, loose Trident with like a pop top.
Yeah.
One of those will last me like months in my cupboard at home.
They're pretty great because they look like sugar cubes.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you did this in school, but like sugar cubes were like a thing when I was in school.
Did you grow up in the 1950s?
Yeah.
You had them in your pocket for your horse?
I think I did grow up with
horses,
teachers from the 1950s. And they thought like rewarding us with sugar cubes, and it did work, and they thought it worked, and they were right. It totally worked.
And then you went back home on your merry way with your hoop and stick.
And the music was like dun 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 dun.
There is that brand of gum called like ice cubes, and they literally are cubes of very sugary gum. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, I think that I thought that's what you were talking about.
I was talking about like the Trident. They're like kind of they're not squares. They're like little envelopes that are like
chiclets?
Yeah, they're kind of like chiclets, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And they're hard on the outside.
My mom buys ice breakers, I think is the brand. And yeah, it's like a little sugar cube. Which is part of the appeal, I think.
That was one question I had for you, is like, what is your gum of choice?
That's actually one of my questions, which is like, it involves packaging, like the way gum is presented to us, which has changed.
Yeah. There's a divergence in like brands and how they choose to present gum.
Yeah. Can I actually ask my question?
Sure.
My question was, why did they move away from the style of packaging when we were kids, which was like a pack, like almost like a cigarette pack, but smaller, and then it was just like
5 pieces?
No, it was like
those small ones.
No, it was like 30 pieces, and then wrapped in like a little piece of paper, and then put into like a sort of aluminum foil-ish.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking? Extra. Extra was the brand, or Wrigley's, I think also.
Yeah. I'm thinking of another style that's similar, where it's like 5 pieces in just one little pack, and you could buy those for like 15 cents or something.
Yeah.
How old do we sound when we're talking about 15-cent packs of gum?
Yeah. Although I'm not sure it's that much more. How much does a pack of gum cost now?
It's like $1.29 now, unless I'm sure you can find it for $1, but like at the grocery store, I've noticed that it's not 99 cents anymore very often.
Well, it's just that packaging technology has come so far that this is what gum is worth now.
It is interesting how, like, Trident, for example, they're sticking to their guns on their approach, like single file row of smaller sticks of gum.
I would imagine like a meeting at Trident offices where they're like, we were ahead of the curve. Our packaging design is timeless.
Yeah.
And they're like patting themselves on the back for something extremely inconsequential. They're like, see, everyone eventually came to the Trident way of doing things. We were so far ahead of our time.
Now they're never going to change.
Yeah. Now they'll go back to like the style I'm talking about, which I know is going to make a comeback at some point because we love nostalgia so much. That like I just can't wait, because I kind of loved that. It was this horrible way of doing packaging. It just made trash everywhere all the time.
Excess.
And but it's just got this sort of, it's nostalgic for me. It's kind of comforting.
It's the same reason why we're gonna go back to the Rainbow Zebra gum with like the really dusty wrapper, and like stick itself is like hard.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
It like breaks and that was horrible.
But I loved it when I was a kid. Like I wanted that so badly.
I kind of, now that I think about it, my mom would always buy Wrigley's, and it was light blue because I think it was like sugar free. Because like I guess as long as I've been alive, my mom's been buying sugar free stuff. And we were so loyal to that package.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever talked to a smoker?
What do you mean?
Like a smoke, like about their purchasing habits? A lot of smokers seem to be very specific about the type of smokes that they like.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to discern what you meant by that. Like, like in all things, like that's their nature.
No, like
That could be partially the case, but yeah.
I think that's just a human thing.
Yeah.
And in this case, it manifests itself as, well, you like to smoke, so
Yeah.
you're going to be very particular about. But
Yeah.
like packaging in cigarettes seems so important. And I think gum, for me, when I was a kid, it seemed that important to me that my mom would get this same pack and same color. There was like dark blue and light blue, and she would always get light blue.
Right.
And that
There's
all
something
meant
to
something to me. I associated it with my mom's identity
Well,
and my own identity.
is gum the non-smoker's cigarette? It
little-
kind of is, and especially knowing that smokers will turn to gum as an alternative, right?
Yes and no, because I feel like now I feel no brand association with gum. And I don't know if my mom cared.
Yeah.
Like, even though she bought the same kind every time, did she give it any thought, or was she just buying it because it was familiar?
Yeah. Like, I'm agreeing with you now that I think about it. I'll just try out new gums.
Yeah. Just cause.
Just 'cause.
Based off of the packaging. Like, oh, that looks interesting, or maybe some sort of flavor.
Gum is funny, too, because they're kind of like a combination of toothpaste and Taco Bell. Because, like, Taco Bell will come out with a new product that's nothing more than a rearrangement of the same ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
And I think gum does that, too. Like, now, Arctic Fresh Mint. It's
Yeah.
like, that's not a different kind of mint than your,
Yeah.
Frost Mint that you came out with before.
Yeah. There's a couple of, like, gum marketing points that they're kind of the only market. Like, to come up with, like, a new gum thing to market
Yeah.
would be, like, revolutionary at this point, because we've kind of saturated all, like, long-lasting or fruity,
Yeah.
as
Oh, the
opposed to
fruities.
peppermint. And then you've got various types of peppermint that are, like, always marketed in the same way, which is, this might kill you, it's so cold. You know what I mean?
You will freeze to death from the waist up.
Yeah, like, and it will be, yeah, like, in no other context is getting frostbite something that seems appealing, but
Except
somehow
in those commercials.
Gum has figured it out. Like, you're in danger of how cold this gum is.
You won't be able to drink water for 12 hours because of how cold the water will be when you drink it.
Our gum is so long lasting and so cold that you will gain superpowers.
Your tongue will turn black and fall off
Remember
from frostbite.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze in Batman?
Yeah.
That is who you will become if you chew our gum.
The reason I said it's kind of like toothpaste is known in the packaging design industry as like kind of the quintessential product not changing, packaging changing.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
we can't make toothpaste any
Yeah.
different, folks.
But they'll, like, Colgate will have 20 different types of boxes: red
Yeah.
box, white box,
Yeah.
blue box, 4 variations of the red, and this one's whitening and tartar control and anti-cavity.
The last time I went to buy toothpaste, in fact, I just spent the whole time looking for, like, where is Colgate the normal?
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean?
I just
like,
want Colgate, like
just-
the Colgate.
where is the Colgate?
Yeah.
There, it doesn't exist. And so I was, like, paralyzed. I was like, well, now I don't know what to get.
It's
I
such
don't-
a weird shopping experience for toothpaste.
Yeah, there's only 2 brands, really. There's Colgate and Crest, and then there's a couple of, like, weird brands next
I
door.
buy
Next
AIM.
to it. Yeah, Tom's of Maine toothpaste, Burt's Bees,
Yeah.
and so you're down to, like, Colgate and Crest, which is kind of like the Windows and Mac argument of toothpaste.
We all have our allegiances.
Yeah, I'm more of a Colgate person because I just grew up buying Colgate.
That's funny.
Actually, I can't remember. Stephanie buys all of the toothpaste now, which is a much better way to live your life if someone else is buying toothpaste for you.
Yeah, save a lot of time.
it's not worth it. Because guess what? There is no just Colgate or just Crest anymore. It's like postmodern toothpaste choices where you're just flooded with choices.
That's hard for people like you and I think.
I just want a
paralyzing.
classic toothpaste.
So what's the classic gum?
Well, for me, it was Extra or Wrigley's or whatever it was called, or maybe it was Wrigley's Extra. I thought that was gum, and then everybody else was variations on gum.
It's got to be Wrigley. Wrigley has a field. You don't hear of any Take 5.
That's true.
5
Stride
field.
Stadium. That would be good, actually.
It works. The alliteration is strong.
It would be way better than like Sleep Train Arena or Smoothie Center, which are two
Energy
real things.
Solutions Arena was the worst.
Yeah.
So glad
Although I
it's
can't
not
say Vivint is much better.
Delta Center. That was where
Delta
it's at.
Center was the one sad thing about living in Utah is that like one of the best industries or businesses, best I put in quotes, is Larry H. Miller, because I hate so many of their business practices, which is market everything.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I'm not saying it's not a smart business move. I'm just saying I hate it, and I think it's super tacky. They own that. They own it. Why not just name it the Larry H. Miller Arena? Then you're advertising your own brand, and it feels correct because they actually own the thing.
Money.
That's the answer. Because they can get a ton of money from Vivint.
And that has everything to do with gum because...
Which is a bummer.
We don't know which name is going to stick. Zing!
Yeah.
Man.
I think we've reached the point where names don't really matter. And so...
Very few of them matter.
Brands spend a ton of money and time creating a brand, and then they just kill it and create a new one. And that's kind of the process we're in now.
I'm a little worried because I think that my stick joke was lost on you.
Say it again. Go for it again.
I was saying that the name of the jazz playing arena has everything to do with gum because we don't know which name is going to stick.
Oh.
Thank you.
I'm not above laughing at a joke that's just been explained to me.
So, anywho, what's your next question?
Hopefully Larry H. Miller will chew on, that thought. If they listen to this podcast, they'll give it some.
I hope they don't spit it out of their minds.
I'm just saying, introspect in a long-lasting manner on like what to do next time when Vivint's deal runs out.
Yeah.
I had another sort of question, but now I can't remember it. So I'll just go. Well, it's time for you to ask a question. If we're following the formal format.
We are.
We
are very formal about these things. Do you chew a full stick or a half stick of gum?
I'm a full stick guy.
I'm a half stick guy.
Why? Do you feel like you're making some sort of smart economic choice? Because I feel like that's why my parents would give me half sticks.
I can't say that has nothing to do with it, but it has very little to do with it. Like, of course it's nice because then 2 sticks become 1.
Yeah.
But I like the size of the wad in my mouth.
Okay.
More than the full stick. Mm-hmm. It's not as obtrusive when you're talking or, whatnot.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You're more likely to be a gum smacker if you're a full stick guy.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want attention anyway, so maybe that's why I choose full stick. I like to pop my gum, which means I want attention. Yeah. Which is one reason why I stay away from gum is because I do know that I draw too much attention to myself.
The pop. That can be extremely loud.
And annoying.
Yeah.
I've only recently come to the conclusion people don't want to hear me pop my knuckles all the time.
Or your gum. There's 2 types of gum popping that I've heard. There's the one really, really loud, just like really loud. But then there's the, I've heard people do where it's like a cascade of small pops. That is the worst.
Yeah. Same goes for popping knuckles.
Yeah,
there's the one person that listen to every single one of my fingers go.
Yeah.
And then there's the other person who like has a maneuver where they just pop them all at once, and you're like, whoa, that's horrible.
Yeah. I don't like gum related sounds at all.
No, I don't want to hear anybody. There's like the people that chew with their mouth open.
Yeah.
And now I think, now that I've come to this conclusion, I'm like, stop. Like,
Yeah.
I know you want attention, but this is not the way to get it from me.
It's just unbecoming of a human. Chewing gum is almost like chewing with your mouth open.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be disallowed. I'm just gonna ask, because this kind of seems related. Like, how long do you chew gum? Because obviously a full stick lasts longer than a half stick.
I always chew gum until I hate it.
You never spit it out prematurely.
No. I mean, it wouldn't even be premature. It would be smart to spit it out when I'm done with it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do is instead chew it until it draws attention to itself again, as like, hey, this is kind of a bad...
Yeah, it's vile.
It doesn't taste good, and it's kind of hard to chew. It's making your jaw tired.
Oh.
That's when I like spit it out.
Yeah. I hate that nasty old gum taste.
How is that? How long you do it too?
It seems to vary. I'll spit it out if I'm like entering a social situation, because I don't want to.
That's just thoughtful.
Yeah. Just trying to be considerate, my fellow humans. But I've chewed gum so long that it starts to dissolve in my mouth. Have you ever experienced that?
I don't feel like I have.
I asked Google about that, and seems to be like, maybe it depends on the person, like what your saliva is composed of.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of odd. But yeah, I'll forget that I'm chewing gum sometimes. And then like it starts to dissolve. I'm like, what's going on?
My gum's disappearing.
Yeah. Which begs the question, like, does it really not digest in your body if it will dissolve in your mouth as you're chewing it?
Yeah. And my mom lied to me about how gum, what it does in your body.
Classic mom lie.
My mom lied to me about a lot of things to try and deter me from doing stuff. Which now at first I believed her, and then second I was disappointed, and I felt betrayed, and now I'm like, give credit to my mom. She came up with some pretty creative, real sounding lies that really like struck fear in me. Hers for me was like, she got me to stop swallowing my gum by telling me that they would all accumulate in my stomach, block the hole through which waste would leave, and everybody needs to know that my mom's a nurse, so she sounded official.
Yeah, that is extra mean.
And then she explained to me what a colostomy bag was, and she said if you swallow too much gum, they say like you break your digestive system, and then they install a colostomy bag.
She took that way farther than she had to.
But it worked because, like, I lived in fear of that for many years.
Like, you accidentally swallow gum and you're just, like, paralyzed with fear.
Yeah,
like,
you're like, is this the one
do I need to make myself throw up right now?
Is this the tipping point?
Is it, like, the last,
You imagine, like, a little plate of gum
in your stomach.
Directly above the hole working, like a tub plug goes?
Yeah.
But there was one little hole that was still allowing you to create poop normally. And then that, like, what is this the piece that, like, fit perfectly into the hole?
Yep, and then, like, the colostomy bag is on its way.
And they all fuse together. Am I going to start turning green here in a minute?
She could have just said that your stomach doesn't digest it, and so you can't swallow it. Like, that worked for me. I never swallowed my gum as a kid because I was told that.
But
like, that it just stays in your stomach.
My mom knew that I needed a consequence.
You needed the fear.
Yeah, because I was swallowing it in direct defiance to her, like, because she had told me she had tried every other thing.
Yeah,
and like my personality is such that I was like, I dare you, like,
I will swallow it.
Like, I'd look her right in the eye and be like, like, I just swallowed that gum in your face, Mom.
She's like, that's it. I'm going to come up with something really terrifying.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying now I'm at the point where I'm like, I credit her.
So a kid can, any human could get constipated from gum. I read this.
This is real.
Yeah.
Okay.
But constipation is a lot different than, blocking the hole permanently so your digestive tract no longer functions.
Yeah.
But, yeah, totally fine to swallow gum. Like, unless you're swallowing huge, like a double bubble pack every day or something.
And your body will digest it.
It doesn't necessarily digest, it just passes it.
It just goes through.
Yeah.
That's good to know because I still carry misconceptions about what happens to gum if I do accidentally swallow it.
Yeah.
Which happens occasionally.
I mean, you were nurtured to believe that, and it's hard to get that out of your head.
Like, I don't believe actively that I'm going to need a colostomy bag, but I also don't know exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So now you're actually teaching me.
Helping you out.
That your body just goes like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and I also...
There's plenty of room in there.
There's zero chance that little wad of gum stays a wad. Like, I'm sure that it, like the heat and acid of your body breaks it apart to be...
Actually forms back into a perfect stick.
Yep.
That's how it comes out.
And I'm not gonna. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna avoid the blue humor that we could. And in fact, it's recycled.
Yep. That came full circle.
Well, full stick, full rectangle. Here's my next question.
I think this is gonna have to be our final question.
Could the location of gum in a store ever be changed? Or has it found its permanent place?
It has the best place in the store. There's
Is
no
it the
better
best,
place. Though? Yes. That is the best place.
I just want some innovative store person to be like, wait a minute. Are we just doing this because it's convention?
Like, of course this should be by the garlic and onions.
See what I mean? I just want a Steve Jobs-esque grocery store employee to rethink convention, to be think different to the location of chewing gum.
It's like everything that could cause bad breath, the gum is next to it. Beef jerky, Let's
get serious about where gum should be. Should it be right next to the produce, right next to the onions?
I mean, maybe there should be gum dispensers just peppering the stores at any given moment.
Yeah, I'm with you. Shouldn't it be in any place where the triggered thought of I love onions, but it's gonna give me bad breath. Holy crap, there's gum right there. It's reminding you, because aren't we so trained to see gum in its natural habitat, which is above the conveyor belt, that we just ignore it? I just go weeks without buying gum, not because I don't want gum, but because I just don't even see the gum anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I still think they've kind of got the best spot. I don't think that it's...
I am saying, so could you improve gum sales by moving it just by novelty? Just the pure novelty of seeing gum in such a weird place.
It's definitely possible. What if you could buy one stick at a time? What if it was your smartphone allowed you to just pay 3 cents for a stick of gum, and you could just, it's like a...
Microtransactions.
Yeah, and it's like a hand sanitizer dispenser, but you just put your hand on it and it gives you a piece of gum, and it just...
You actually put your phone because it needs NFC. So it's like using Apple Pay.
And it lands on the phone.
Yeah, and it just goes and lands on the phone. You've got one stick.
That's smart.
How much should one stick of gum cost?
If it was sold individually, I'm sure that the worth would increase. And they would have to be would
you pay 25 cents for one single piece of gum?
Yeah.
That
if
means
I'm on a date and I need it at that time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, in a restaurant.
Yeah.
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's smart.
That's genius. How come no gum company has tried this? We sell single some places have vendors of tampons. That just makes sense.
Even I've seen condoms in bathrooms. Or why aren't there should also be single-use toothbrushes. That'd be nice too.
Because sometimes you get into a social situation where you just forgot.
Yeah.
And then you want nothing but relief from the thing that you're concerned about.
I mean, gum companies kind of want you to think that that's what gum is. is a single serving of toothbrush.
Yeah, that's
So
what I use
maybe
it for
that's-
sometimes. Why can't bathrooms be centers of commerce?
They can.
Because it seems trashy?
If
I
it's
think-
a clean bathroom, it doesn't seem trashy, does it?
I do think there is something trashy about a vending machine with useful stuff in it in a bathroom. Have you ever seen those? They're like metal,
Yeah.
but I think
Well,
it's
it's
all
'cause of how it's
presentation.
done.
Yeah.
What if there was like a foyer between the actual restaurant or whatever place you are and the actual bathroom where you made, small purchases of your...
I'm saying I
needs.
think that's a pretty good idea. But I think like it's a product. It's a product that a company bought, a vending machine to put stuff in. And we like to think of like the iPhone. Part of the reason the iPhone was appealing was because it was just a complete rethinking of what a phone should be.
Okay.
Whereas so many people were doing a conventional thing. So what if we actually thought of something like a gum dispenser
Yeah.
as a product worth thinking about in a bathroom? Like another example, the Dyson Airblade. Somebody being like, wait a minute, like we love the idea of hot air blowing on our hands to dry our hands off, but it doesn't really work.
But
It's
what if
kind
it
of the
could
same
work?
It's the kind of the same thing as the Unimportant Matters like brand, which is just like just putting thought into something that just seems too inconsequential to be worth thinking about.
So basically, you've just come up with the poster child, case study of the Unimportant Matters.
Yeah. The business side.
Yeah.
We need to develop a chewing gum, single serving chewing gum dispenser.
An ongoing list of ideas we've come up with that you cannot steal unless you pay us, which wouldn't be stealing.
We've come up with like 3 or 4 different products to market.
Yeah.
First of all, we've rethought where chewing gum needs to be sold.
Yep.
And that could be revolutionary for
And
chewing
micro
gum sales.
purchases. Yeah. Single stick purchases.
Yeah, microtransactions.
Yeah.
Real life like life is free to play, Matt. And how we make money is by offering microtransactions within life.
That, yeah. And if you have a fingerprint ID or a password, then it prevents kids from buying gum without your authorization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I just think...
Life is free to... And that's the take-home message, folks.
Do you have any other chewing gum questions? All right, you should ask me that because you're running this podcast.
I asked all my questions, and I think we solved a lot of the world's gum problems, and hopefully got some people thinking, some stuff to chew on.
There's some new. There's always room to innovate. I know chewing gum seems like it's just too bound by tradition to even mess with, but let's mess with it.
Yeah.
Let's stick disrupt.
Couldn't agree more.
If we lived in Silicon Valley, like these ideas would be taken seriously.
Yes, I think we better move.
But because we live out
Operations.
of the context of the stupidity of Silicon Valley, we get to pretend like we're actually just joking around.
Yeah. But we're serious.
Yeah. We're serious as a stick of gum, which is a new phrase I just made up.
Yeah. I'll take it. Thanks, Jaron.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks
Matt.
for the podcast, and thanks for this glass of water.
Hey, thanks everybody for listening. Go out there and chew a stick of gum.
Or a half stick.